Welcome to the Educational AD Podcast and another edition of the FIAAA Insider. Welcome back, everyone, to the Educational AD Podcast and today's FIAAA Insider. Today, we're joined by Jessica Upchurch. Jessica's a certified athletic administrator, and she's the director of athletics at Sebastian River High School. Jessica, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Jake. It's a pleasure.
We've enjoyed working with you with FIAAA and FHSA, and we know it's going to be a great show today. Jessica, we always like to let the listeners have a chance to get to know our guests. So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, where you went to college, and how that maybe led to that very first job in athletics.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a long time since someone's asked me to go back that far, but I'll do my best. So I grew up on the northwest side of Chicago. I am first generation. My mom immigrated here from Italy when she was a young girl. I'm a product of CPS, Chicago Public Schools, through the 5th grade. My family moved to Elmwood Park, a small suburb outside of the city, and I went to Elmwood Park High School. Go Tigers, where I played softball, tennis, and cross country. I had a great experience in high school. I liked it so much. I had 4 years of perfect attendance. So that was quite a thing, but I had the best coaches, best teachers, some that I'm still friends with to this day. I did my student teaching with one of my PE and coaches when I went through that. So it was a great experience. When I graduated high school, I went to Triton College, which is a 2-year junior college, and still wanted to compete. So I walked on to our swimming team and I swam there on a scholarship, made a nationals appearance there. So that was a really good experience for me. I still didn't really know what I wanted to do. I worked as an EMT for a little bit and finally found my calling in education, where I went to Elmhurst College. My undergrad was in kinesiology, and I ended up teaching PE and wellness for 6 years in the northwest suburbs and in CPS as well. So when I was a teacher, I also coached girls soccer, cross country, and track. So during all of that, I went for my master's at DePaul University. I finished my master's degree in educational leadership. And then after that, I landed my first assistant athletic directing job, and I did that for 4 years. And after that, I was looking for an AD position and found myself in Florida. And I've been here at Sebastian River High School for 5 years already.
Well, again, we've heard this path before: teacher, coach, and then into administration. Going back to that point where you got your first job as an assistant AD in Chicago, what was that? Did you initiate that, or did someone reach out to you and say, hey, we'd like you to think about this? How did that occur?
It's actually a really funny story. I finished my master's and was just kind of out there. I was happy teaching, but put myself out there a little bit with admin jobs. And I applied for an assistant athletic director position at Deerfield High School. And it was close to the end of the summer, and I got a call back and was super excited about it. And the AD there was like, why don't you come in for a screening? Not really an interview, just a screening. And I was going on vacation. I was like, I'm not gonna cancel my vacation for a screening. So we actually, before Zoom was even popular, we Zoomed or Skyped. And he's like, well, come in for an interview, and I ended up getting that job. So it was interesting. I was a coach, of course, but never really had aspirations to be an athletic director. So from there, from that point on, you know, it kind of stuck. So it was an interesting kind of path to there, and no regrets. You know, I love what I do, and it was kind of a cool story.
No, I think it's very cool. It's kind of a, you know, you took a leap of faith there where, you know, hey, they want you to come in, but you said, you know, well, no, let's do this. So well played. Well
Right,
played.
right.
Well, now you, let's jump to Sebastian River. You're experienced AD. You've been on the FHSA Athletic Director Advisory Committee. You were on the task force for the officials, new officials contract. Um, how has the job surprised you over the years, and what has played out pretty much as you planned as far as the role of a school-based athletic director?
Jake, that's kind of a loaded question. I mean, just coming down here and coming from Illinois to Florida was a huge difference. There's a vast variety of things that are different, especially in the community that I live in. Coming from a big city to a small little town, I'm replacing someone that was here for 24 years before me. So I'm only the second athletic director at Sebastian River High School. So, you know, there's trials and tribulations that come to that, you know, just trying to find your way and being the outsider. But, you know, it's nice to have a community of athletic directors that you can go to. As soon as I got here, everyone is very welcoming. Getting involved with the FHSA and the FIAAA definitely helped me. I don't think I would be in the position I'm in if it wasn't for those type of things. So, you know, I've always tried to surround myself with good people. You know, you know, the go-to people, the people who are leading in the industry, and you pick their brains. You know, and everyone's always, you know, always wants to help. So that has been a big thing.
Well, I think you're being just a little bit humble, but you know, I have the privilege of having worked with you, served on committees with you, so I know the good things you do. But tell our listeners, you were honored with a inclusion in a very elite group, 40 under 40. Tell our listeners a little bit about that and how that came about.
Yeah, it was kind of a surprise to me. It's Coach and AD 40 under 40 class of 2019, I believe, and it's a tremendous honor. I only had a couple years more to get it, so I'm glad I'm glad that I did. You know, I got into athletic administration when I was only 30 years old, so it's you know, you definitely grow during that period. But you know, I try to be as humble as possible. Like all of the great things that we do here and go on in this office, I could not do without the people that are around me. My coaches really, they're the most gritty, persevering people here. We do a lot with a little bit, and you know, I couldn't be as successful as I am without them. So you know, that's kind of my stance on that.
Well, again, it was great that one of our own from Florida was included in that group, and you know, you certainly are representing the state well. Let's talk nuts and bolts here. COVID is the not so you know, silent gorilla in the room, and as we've seen across the country, there's been different responses. Some states are already coming out delaying sports. Some are saying no, full speed ahead. We've even had one school in Florida say they're not going to do football this year. Now, that might be COVID related, or there might be some other things going on. But
Sure.
the one thing we've seen is that there is no standard answer. So this next question is just about Sebastian River. What are you all doing right now with regards to summer conditioning and training? And what are your plans today? We understand that they might change, but what are your
Mhm.
plans as far as reopening?
So as you know, we got the okay to go ahead and condition. So we have a few teams out there, football, volleyball, cross country. We've returned with them, and it's kind of good because we get a good practice of what the fall is going to look like. We're following CDC guidelines, working in small groups, taking temperatures. Our athletic trainer is there as well, monitoring and taking attendance and making sure we're keeping track of groups and pods and things like that. But my personal opinion, I feel like we need to get back. I think that obviously there's things that we need to have support with when we do that. I mean, we know that kids thrive in a classroom environment as opposed to virtual learning. So I feel like, the district and, the state of Florida needs to equip us with training and infrastructure, to support physical distancing as well. So I think we need to get back, but we just need the support to do that.
Hmm? How have the different groups responded to the return to on-campus activities? Again, in a limited manner, but how have the kids and the coaches and even the parents, how have they responded to what you guys are doing?
Really well. I mean, let's be real. Like, we've been quarantined since March, and the kids are ready to get started. And they know, the risks, and they know the things that they need to do to make sure they're safe. Um, I think everyone has received the protocol, the physical distancing really, really well. Everyone's been really careful, sanitizing after, each other, you know, um, making sure temperatures, and they're answering those screening questions honestly. So they've been great. I can't say enough about our kids, our athletes, our coaches. And like I said, it's nice to have a little microcosm of that before we get started full capacity.
Well, dealing with COVID obviously is a big challenge. What are some of the things that you really love about the job? What are the things that get you up in the morning excited to come to work each day?
That's a really good question, and sometimes I question myself on that a little bit. Um, you know, the job is always changing. It's something different every single day, and I feel like I thrive on that. I don't know if you know this, but I am a 4-time Ironman finisher.
I did know that.
So I don't know, like, I feel like I have a unique way of enduring, so um, I think that has helped me in this job, and you do endure, things that pop up, and um, it's always a challenge. So it's nice to have that in everyday setting. Um, Obviously the kids are athletes, and seeing, the fruits of their labor, our coaches' labor, come to fruition. I think those are the things that really, get me here and ready to serve. I mean, I'll do anything for our athletes and our coaches. So I think that's it.
Um, Early on, you talked about your teachers and coaches. We always like to learn about the impact that leadership and mentorship has had on our athletic directors. Who are some of the specific mentors that you've had in your life, either as teachers, coaches, or bosses, that you still um, see there and hear their lessons as you go to work each day?
Absolutely. Like I said, I would not be here if those people weren't, the forefront of my life. I've had some amazing coaches and mentors through high school. I mentioned one who was my cross-country track coach, and did my student teaching with him. And, you know, every day, you know, I probably think of something he said or something, you know, we did. So, you know, those people I always hold dear and think of in situations that are tough, and what would this person do? So yeah.
All right. Final question before we do our wrap up. Um, since you've been at Sebastian River, what new program or what new look at an existing program do you think you're most proud of that's had the greatest positive impact for your students and your community?
So there are two things when I got here that was glaring that really I felt needed to be changed, and it was our branding and logos. You know, every team I feel like went rogue and was using a different shark, a different font, a different everything. And you know how important that logo is to identify your program. So again, you know, searching out all the good people here, I teamed up with our graphic arts teacher, and we came up with and elevated and redid our logo and branding. And it's really, I feel, you know, people really don't like know how much of a difference it makes, but it does. You know, you walk into our gym, you know that we are Sebastian River High School. You see our uniforms, you know, there's no question who we are. So that has been, you know, something I like to hang my hat on. You know, as athletic directors, you are the keeper of the brand, keeper of the logo. So it's a, you know, that was a big feat trying to get everyone on board. You know, there's still a little bit of outliers, but you're never gonna totally conquer it. But we've gotten a lot better, and you know, really proud of that. Another thing that I did that is gonna help us along the way is after every season we compile data, and it's our athletic report where we get total enrollment, sport enrollment, GPAs of our student athletes, their ethnicities and genders, and we just compile this data and look at it and see if there's anything systematically that we're doing that is either hindering or, you know, accelerating their performance here as an athlete. So, for example, one year we noticed that freshman athletes were struggling with GPAs. They had the lowest GPA of athletes. So that's something systematically that we can fix. You know, going to their teachers, making sure they have support, making sure they know time management skills that they need being an athlete and a student. So that's all really good stuff. And so far I have 4 years of data compiled, and you know, we take a look at it as an administrative team with our coaches and things like that. And just some things that we can kind of adjust within our department that is gonna support our student athletes more.
That's some great stuff. That sounds like a CMAA project waiting to happen.
Yeah, I need to get on that. So we might do that for sure.
Well, Jessica, we've kind of come to the end, but we always like to finish with what we call the athletic director's toolbox. You know, you've been a new AD, now you're a veteran, an award-winning athletic director, and it's your task right now to put together a toolbox for the next new AD, but you only get to put 3 things inside. What is going to go in Jessica Upchurch's AD toolbox?
Okay, so only 3 things. That's tough. So, I mean, I'm assuming if you get to this job and to this spot that you are intelligent and you have good communication skills, you have time management, things like that. Those are all the things that should already be in your toolbox, but 3 extra ones. One is you better get yourself a sense of humor really quick. So definitely work on your sense of humor, because there are times where things are going to be outside of your control, and the only thing you can do is laugh and smile about it and just keep it moving. So you have to laugh, you have to have a good time in this job, or you're not going to stay with it very long. So that's one. Two is a Peloton bike or a gym membership or a pair of gym shoes, whatever, something of the like, because you cannot serve from an empty vessel. You have to take care of yourself first. You know, we don't want to be ex-athletes that, you know, look like we're not taking care of ourselves as well too. We should be role models for our student athletes. And not to mention, you know, obviously exercise is good for your health and things like that. So a gym membership or a Peloton. Number three is, you ready? It is a passport. You have to be able to shut it down, turn off your phone, get away when the time is right, because this job is consuming. So, you know, being able just to rest and take your mind off of everything that's going on, because when we're here, you know, you have to go. So take time and rest, take care of yourself, things like that. So those are my three.
Well, I wish I would have had those three when I first started out. That would have helped. That would have
You're
helped a
kidding.
lot. Jessica Upchurch, thank you so much for being on the show today. Great job. And again, enjoy working with you. Looking forward to seeing you at our next state meeting.
Yes, absolutely, Jake. Thank you. Have a great rest of the summer, and we'll see you in the fall.
Okay. To our listeners, thanks for tuning in. Come back again. We've got some more episodes that are going to be airing. And just a reminder, this is the Educational AD.